I've known for a very long time that I was called to empower and to serve others. See, when I was just a little girl, my mom saw that I liked to line up my baby dolls and my beanie babies. And when she saw that, she went out and got me a chalkboard. And I knew then I was destined to be a teacher. So fast forward to 7th grade, and I decided, because I love books and reading so much, that I was going to go ahead and start my own book club in my home. And again, my mom was on board with that. I invited my girlfriends over, my mom got my books together, and I named my club Black Girls Have Power Book Club. So by the time I got to college, it came as no surprise when I decided to major in English education. From there, I would go on to become a high school English teacher. And at that time, I was able to see the intersection between English and empowerment. One fall day in my classroom, we were reading To Kill a Mockingbird. And it's a great book. You guys remember it? Yes? Awesome. So during this day in my class, whenever students come in, up on the screen, I have what we call bell work. That bell work usually includes a quote from a famous speaker or author or actor. On this day, the quote was from Sigmund Freud, and the quote read, "I can't think of any need in childhood as great as the need of a father's protection." The quote went well with To Kill a Mockingbird. However, when I called on several students that day, there was a shift in the atmosphere. Two of the last students that I called on for the day were two African American girl students. And when I called on them, my heart broke because they had a hard time connecting to the quote and making connections. What they shared with the rest of the class was that they had never had a father's love or a father's protection. When they walked out of my room on that day, I remember going back to my desk and slumping down because it hit me very heavy in my heart. And I thought, what can I do for these girls? And it took me back to 7th grade when I risked that dreaded nerd label and started that book club. So from there, I started Girls Empowered After School Club with the sole mission to educate, enlighten, and empower the girls who walk through my doors. And the girls, they fell in love with me then. And they didn't just come when we had the sessions, they even came after school. As you can see right here, we have such a good time. They started coming on my lunch break. They started coming during my planning period, even, texting because they wanted advice and they wanted wisdom and they wanted that love and they wanted that protection. And I was happy that I had the opportunity to offer it to them. However, my favorite part is when I get the opportunity to invite into my classroom guest speakers. Just a couple weeks ago, I invited in 15-year-old Jacqueline Means, who you see here in the middle. As a teenager, she is really in love with STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. She decided that she was going to do 4 different experiments with my students. The 4th experiment is the one that really showed me the magic there was in empowering Black girls. It was a small experiment, which was making ice cream. So she went around to each girl, she gave out these big old bowls, she gave out the wish, she gave out the spoon to each girl, and then she came around to each one, and she put dry ice into each of their bowls. And it started getting harder and harder and harder for them to stir up what they had in their pots, much like a lot of their home lives that they deal with every day. But ultimately, something sweet was going to come out of it, which is very similar to the lessons I tried to instill in the girls that walk through my doors. So on this day, once we got to the sweet part of making the ice cream, the girls' eyes lit up. And there in that moment, I said, wow, there is the magic there is in empowering Black girls right there in that moment. However, although I love inspiring, educating, and equipping Black girls, I recognize that not everyone feels the same way that I do. And in fact, in just the last 55 years, our views about Black girls have not changed. If we go back to 1962, with famed civil rights leader Malcolm X, he had a famous speech called "Who Taught You to Hate Yourself?" In that speech, he has 2 famous lines that I can't seem to get out of my mind. The first line is this: The most underprotected person in America is the black woman. The second line is this: the most neglected person in America is the black woman. And if we fast forward to a 2017 study from just last year from the Georgetown Law Center on Poverty and Inequality, we will see that much has not changed since 1962. What Georgetown Law Study did was they asked adults from various backgrounds and various ages what their thoughts were on black girls and on white girls between the ages of 5 and 14. And what they revealed is that things still have not changed. The final study said this: many people still believe that black girls need less nurturing, they need less comfort, they need less support, and they need less protection compared to their white peer counterparts. Because many people assume that black girls come off and appear as if they are more adult-like, which blew my mind, because someone as young as 5 years old needing less protection, that just didn't feel right to me. And what we know for sure is that when black girls are loved, when they are supported, when they are encouraged, when they are empowered and equipped, black girls and black women have been known to start movements. They have been known to set people free. They have been known to fight for equality. They have even been known to become the First Lady of the United States of America. So, there are 3 ingredients necessary when it comes to empowering black girls that I've discovered on this journey. The first one is this: black girls must be reassured of their beauty and of their brilliance. The second ingredient is this: black girls must see relevant content and concepts that reinforce their cultural heritage. And the third ingredient is that black girls must see positive representations of who they can become. Now let's take this example. This is going to come from a 2-year-old. Isn't she adorable? Her mother took her to the Smithsonian National Portrait Gallery, and inside of that gallery now is a humongous portrait of our former First Lady, Michelle Obama. Parker saw this image and she was struck in awe. There was a white male behind her that captured this, and this moment went viral. And when people have interviewed Parker, her words back to the rest of the world is this: I thought she was a queen, so now I want to be a queen. And it's adorable, and I'm sure she walked out of there with a little bit more pep in her step than she had before she got there. But it reinforces the 3 ingredients that are necessary to empower black girls. She is clearly reassured of her beauty. Look at Michelle. She clearly sees relevant content, and she sees a positive representation of who she could become. Now, my second example comes from the biggest blockbuster movie to hit theaters this year, Black Panther. Have you seen it? Oh, yes, that's me. And here's the thing about Black Panther. Folks have not seen Black Panther once. They've seen it twice. They've seen it 3 times. They've seen it 4 times. I know I saw it twice, and I might go again. And the beauty in it is that people also, they gather their students to go. They gather their families to go. And people don't just go, they even dress up to go. That is how important the movie is, because it has the 3 ingredients that I brought up here today. Now let's look at the women who are in Black Panther. If we look to the Dora Milaje, and you can see an image of one right here, there is a fierceness to the black female characters in this movie. And because they are protected, they are able to provide protection to other people in their fictional country of Wakanda. If we look to Queen Ramonda in this movie, there is a royalty about her, which reminds me of the concept of ancient kings and queens from Africa. And then if we get to my favorite character, which is Cherie. Cherie is the king's little sister, perhaps the smartest person in the Marvel universe at this point. And she's clearly loved, she's clearly protected, she's clearly educated, and she's clearly empowered. And as a result of that, she's able to give back more to her society. See, that's the thing with our own society. When black girls are loved and they are nurtured and they are empowered, they can give from a place of overflow back to their communities, back to their society, to their men, and even to their children. But it's very difficult as Black girls for us to continue to give back to this country and give back to society if we are coming from a cup that is depleted, rejected, and underprotected, and oftentimes neglected. So my charge here for all of you today is to take this away. Black girls are powerful. Black girls are magical. Black girls need to be empowered, they need to be enlightened, and they need to be inspired, because there are some amazing things that they can contribute back to our world, and we need them. May you believe it, may you acknowledge it, but most importantly, see the value in it. Thank you.